for tuning in to The Kennel, episode 147, a Cleveland football podcast coming off a devastating loss against the Chiefs in the divisional round at Arrowhead.
Yeah,
quite a game to break down. I'm G. Antrada with Stevie James. What's up, dude?
Yeah, that happened.
It did happen.
It happened. We were there.
Unfortunate.
We had him. Had him on the ropes.
The Browns' 2020 miraculous season has finally come to an end. Unfortunate end, but an end nonetheless, and we're here to break it down for you. The breakdown of the divisional round.
Yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Football Kennel, mostly Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like, whatever, podcast, 5 stars, whatever.
Rate 5 stars, share our podcast, share our YouTube, The Kennel. You could subscribe there and all this stuff. And
best thing you can do is share.
Notifications and things.
Yep, best thing you can do is share. We appreciate that a lot.
Tell your friends.
But yeah, we're going to get into the game today. Our season has come to an end. It's been a magnificent run. We have nothing to be ashamed of. I think we should be proud for what happened.
For sure.
We played 18 games this season and won twice as many as we lost.
And knocked out the Steelers from the playoffs.
We beat the Steelers 2 weeks in a row, including
a knockout win.
Yes.
To take them out.
That's
send
big
them
time.
home packing.
Yeah, we went up against the defending Super Bowl champions. It didn't fall the way we wanted to, but at the end of the day, I love this team. We're bringing everybody back on offense. We'll see what happens with the defense. A full offseason with Stefanski. It's going to be glorious. Not in this episode. We're just going to talk about the game in this episode, but maybe the next episode or sometime soon we're going to do a season recap.
For sure.
We'll do a long episode where we break down all 18 games, not like in great detail, but like just run through the season and what happened and relive all the memorable moments and really do a nice little time capsule of what 2020 really was. It'll be glorious. But yeah, so maybe our sign is pretty much always on the verge of coming down. Yeah, we have to. We'll do it.
2021 season. That'll be actually stapled to the wall.
Yeah, we might. Who knows? Maybe we'll get
figure
crazier.
it out.
Next year we're gonna have it's just gonna be a table full of bobbleheads and just our heads poking out.
Barely. Anyways, this episode will also feature a highly contested Kennel Quick Predicts.
Most participants we've ever had. There's 50 of you.
Lots of people.
Okay, I exaggerated. There's 8 or 9 people. It's very, very good.
It's a lot more than usual. So anyways, we're gonna dive into the game review and then we'll go into Kennel Quick Predicts and we'll call it a day and we'll start it off. Game review.
Game review.
All right, bringing it in. We know what happened. We lost. It is what it is. What it do. But it was an exciting game nonetheless, and for a minute there, it looked like we were going to get blown the fuck out, and that did not happen. It was like 16-3. Kansas City's offense looked completely ridiculous and unstoppable. I believe it was 19-3 at one point. I'll have to double check, but it looked like they were going to run away with it. Offense came out sputtering, but in the second half, we really made it a game. The one thing that hurts
the 19-3. So I disagree. I felt like the game was a lot closer than it looked all the way through, especially because the missed extra points, the missed field goal for the Chiefs. It felt, and then the one time where our defense actually stopped them, just held them to the 3 points. So to me, it kind of felt like we were in it the entire time through. I think what you're referring to is obviously the touchdown drive that ended up being a touchback drive. Fumble on the goal line that then made it 19-3 because that allowed them to drive down the field. That doesn't happen at the end of the second drive where that would be 10-16. That's not a crazy game. And even 3-19 isn't that horrible.
No, it was 19-3 going into halftime, and that speaks to the resiliency of the Browns. Even going into the halftime down 19-3, I think a lot of us were a little dejected, but there was still a lot of belief that we would be able to come back and make this a tight game, and we did. And then what I was going to say is what makes it a little disappointing is had you told me before the game Kansas City's only going to score 22 points, Kansas City's only going to score 3 points in the second half, I would feel pretty good
that the Browns could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
I felt it. I thought there near the end that we were going to pull the upset, but obviously it didn't turn out that way. The Browns losing 17-22, finishing our wonderful season. I wouldn't call it a lost season. Obviously, listening to the press conferences, Kevin Stefanski, Baker Mayfield, that there's a real sense of disappointment in the finality of what is playoff football. It's win or go home. Every drive kind of matters in that sense. And I'm not gonna lie. I think it's fair to say it wasn't Stefanski's best game. I think situationally, maybe the one play dropped ball that he probably should have challenged and it would have gone his way, where he didn't challenge it, and then later in the game, the actual challenge that was just a mishandled ball that never actually touched the ground by Tyreek Hill. That obviously he did challenge. Losing the timeout there is huge, especially in a playoff game. So not his best game. Not his best game in terms of play calling either. We didn't really run the ball that much, really only 19 carries between Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, most of those coming in the second half. In the first half, barely nothing specifically from Nick Chubb. Kind of felt like we didn't do what got us there, in terms of the play calling. But a lot of situations where I felt like this coaching staff will learn from and get better moving forward. Rookie head coach, first time experiences in the playoffs like this. I think this won't be the last time you see this team here.
Yeah, hindsight is 2020. I mean, one thing to remember is Kevin Stefanski is a rookie head coach, technically in his first playoff game because he wasn't able to coach last week, going against Andy Reid, who's been in the NFL for NFL head coach for
a million years,
22 years,
and been to 100 playoff games, maybe more.
So there's
won a Super Bowl, been to another one.
There's all that, so there's an advantage there. But yeah, it's easy to sit here, play armchair quarterback, do hindsight is 2020, sit here, look at the stats, and go, well, Baker Mayfield had 37 attempts, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt had a combined 19 carries. What's up with that? Because we saw, especially in the second half, Nick Chubb had a couple gashing runs where it looked like the Chiefs defense had zero answer for him on the ground. Now, we tried to pass the ball to Nick Chubb.
And a couple big drops, which are unlike him. I think in general, offensively, we were not there. The spark that we've seen from this offense, especially last week, was not there. We saw them get into a little bit of a groove late in the game, but unfortunately, they didn't get the opportunity to get that last drive and try to give a little bit of Baker magic and some opportunity to potentially come out with a win there.
Yeah, we just needed one more drive to really, the momentum really started getting going. We saw it on the drive where we drove down the field, where Higgins ultimately dove for the end zone, which led to a touchback, which was a dirty helmet-to-helmet hit, but you're not allowed to review that because
blah, blah, blah.
Because whatever. So you saw the momentum picking up. We were able to move the ball against this Kansas City offense, but for whatever reason, whether it was us killing ourselves, the Kansas City defense, whether it was us killing ourselves with things like Nick Chubb drops,
penalties,
Higgins dropping the fumble in the touchback, and then we had like another really nice drive going. We ended up having to punt late in the game where Wyatt Teller got called for a hold, which I guess it's a hold, but like plays like that happen, like actions like that happen on almost every play, so it's a little tit for tat.
And then it's tough when you see it offensively with the Kansas City Chiefs, that face mask hold on our defensive linemen where that didn't get called. So it's a lot of instances like that. I mean, we could say
I have no sympathy for holding in general because Myles Garrett gets held every other damn play. So
that's what I mean.
It just pisses me off.
I don't know if you remember, but there was a play where their offense held our linemen and it was a clear face mask. He pulled him to the ground and then landed on top of him, kind of pancaked him.
Yeah, onto his back.
And you
and
even
the guy's
mentioned,
like,
yeah, he's like, hello, flag. So he noticed it, but in the replay, you saw that the pull down was actually from the face mask. So not only is that a hold, it's a face mask, illegal hands to the face.
It happened right in front of the quarterback.
And right in front of the official, I feel like. So a lot of inconsistencies there. I mean, we could say what you will about officiating this, officiating that, whether the fumble should have been a touchback or not, worst rule in football, whatever. I still feel like play calling wise and offensively didn't really put ourselves in the best position to win. Some penalties and some mistakes and some drops, big drops from some players that normally don't show that. That obviously led to the loss. And a big thing to take note in is our inability to stay consistently on the field.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it. It was more than anything us shooting our own damn selves in the foot. I thought the Chiefs' defense played pretty well. I'll give them credit. It's just, I kind of go back to what I was saying before, where you saw kind of those gashing runs from Chubb, and this is a game, speaking of the running game, where Kareem Hunt's going against his former team. You got to know that he's going to be energized, so I would have liked to have seen more carries to him. And I know it's Browns fans, we always want to run the ball more. We're always talking about running the ball more. And I said before this game, don't be surprised if we pass a lot, because we do have a legit quarterback in Baker Mayfield, and sometimes you do have to put the ball in his hands. But even when we were down, we were getting gashing plays on the ground, and I would have liked to have seen more of a commitment to that running game. Some of those passes to Nick Chubb, those could have just been runs. I mean, just little things like that. But at the same time, I believe in Nick Chubb to catch that ball, and I think Kevin Stefanski does too, and I think Nick Chubb believes in himself to catch those balls.
Sure.
So I think that's, again, it's that hindsight thing where it's like, well, why are you throwing it to Nick Chubb? You could have just handed it to him. Well, one of his drops was on a screenplay where he probably would have ran for 50 yards.
And take into account how we utilized him against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, where he actually did get quite a bit in the catching department. He had a lot of yards, a lot of receiving yards last week against the Steelers. So he was utilized in that fashion, at least to some extent. He's been used that way in the play calling. Before we move to the defensive side, because I think the fault here obviously goes both ways. It wasn't just on the offense not being able to click. Obviously, they put up the 17 points, and they really looked like they could have made the comeback. But obviously some responsibility falls to the defense. And Kevin Stefanski said this: we win as a team, we lose as a team. So I want to go over on the defensive side and see what we did well and where we failed. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you the 4th and 9. Everyone's been clamoring about the 4th and 9. I don't think it's comparable in question to the 4th and 1 conversion where Tomlin punted in the game last week against the Steelers. But the 4th and 9, what did you think Stefanski should have done there? I know it makes sense to punt, especially with Chad Henne being out there. I think if it was Mahomes, you probably go for it there. But in general, what did you think of the 4th and 9 call of punting there, which ultimately led to us not getting an opportunity to win the game?
Well, I understand the logic on punting. You have the ball on your 32-yard line, your own 32-yard line, and it's 4th and 9, and you're punting to a team, like you just said, who's using their backup quarterback, who on the previous drive threw an interception and didn't look great. Chad Henne had some moments here and there. We'll get into his moment at the end of the game, but he had some moments here and there. And honestly, the punt doesn't even look like that bad of a decision because we were able to get them into a 3rd and long. He had the crazy run, but then we were able to get them into a 4th down situation, 4th and short at midfield. And you could even argue, Andy Reid had the balls to go for that 4th down, but you could have argued that it would have made a lot of sense for him to punt right there because you can pin the Browns back deep. And then the Browns offense is getting another possession. So that's the thing. Talking about hindsight, where if we're able to force the Chiefs' offense to go 3 and out, say on that 3rd and long we don't give up that big run and they are forced to punt the ball, well, then us punting the ball doesn't seem strange at all. We got the ball back because they have a backup quarterback, and then we drove down the field and won the game. So that's kind of the bitch of it. You have to play complementary football. You have to trust your defense can stop a backup quarterback, a 13-year veteran from Michigan who's done nothing in the NFL. You got to be able to trust your defense to stop them. I think if it was 4th and 9 from even like the 50 or the 45 on the opposite side of the field, I think then you're probably going for it. But to go for it from the 32, if you don't get that, they're already in field goal range. Like you're putting yourself in a tough situation because if they get the field goal, you're down by 8. It's very difficult.
Well, that's what I was going to say is really being down by 8 still gives you an opportunity to tie the game with a touchdown, 2-point conversion if you come back with the drive. So ultimately, I felt like the field goal wasn't the word. I mean, even if you could hold them to a field goal, that still wasn't the end-all, be-all if you didn't get the conversion on the 4th down. But I agree with you. I do think if that distance wasn't 4th and 9 and we weren't where we were, that'd be a totally different story. Even if it was 4th and 6, I bet you he would have gone. Dude,
if it was 4th and 4 from the 50, without hesitation, Kevin Stefanski's going for it.
Well, I'm telling you, even if it was 4th and 4 where we were,
maybe consider it. Their 4th and 9 is tough, and we had the drops, and it's a tough situation to go for it right there. And it's a bitch. You damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he goes for it right there and we don't get it, then everyone's like, "Why would you go for it on 4th and 9 from your own 32?"
Right.
So it goes both ways. Overall,
at the same time, I don't feel like most people are being critical of Kevin Stefanski in such a detrimental fashion.
No.
I think most people are just happy we got to where we were, and these are just legitimate questions, concerns.
It's crazy. Like going back to the Higgins fumble into the end zone. First of all, it would have been 1st and goal had he not reached out like that.
Didn't need to do that. And Kevin Stefanski made a point that's what we teach, that's what he teaches in that locker room.
But I understand Higgins being like,
I want to get this. We're down.
I would have done the same thing. Let's go.
I get it.
So I get it. but
you don't see the Patriots do that, and in fact, Patriots players were tweeting about we'd be having a 2-hour meeting after this game about that one play if one of our players did that.
About how we don't do that, yeah, and I get it. It's playoffs. You fired up. Higgins made a great play.
No, I'm not, yeah.
And if it wasn't a helmet to helmet, I don't think he fumbles that. If
he doesn't have a fumble and this is a touchdown, his stat line is legendary.
5 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. And I mean, if you look at the score,
and we'd be 10-16 going into half. It's
and its final score is 22-17. You just add that touchdown, it's 24-22. We win. So it's a bitch and a half. I mean, that's some Brown shit, but it is what it is. What I think is impressive is how the team was able to respond from that, because the Browns of old would have packed it up and been like, we're the Browns, it's not our night, look what's happening, like it's over. But the team responded very well to that. And I do want to shout out to David Njoku, huge in this game. 4 catches, 59 yards, had a few big plays early, still blocking like a motherfucker. This is a guy, we'll get into this as the offseason progresses, but he's going into his 5th-year option. We did draft him in the first round, so I would love to pick up his 5th-year option. I was looking at it a little bit. Looks like it's going to be about $6 million, which I'm totally down for. I know we already have the highest paid tight end, but I thought David Njoku proved this year that he is not just a willing blocker, but an extremely effective blocker, and he made some big plays in the passing game in this game especially, and he's a great locker room presence. So this is a guy I'm bringing back for a 5th year.
In general of what we think the Browns are going to do in terms of their upcoming free agents.
Oh, we're going to do tons of stuff. It's going to be epic.
And big contracts. You have a lot of big contracts, especially in the wide receiver room.
But going back to getting back into the defense is, I'm not really surprised. I mean, once Patrick Mahomes went out, and that obviously changed the tide of the game, and the defense did step up in the second half, which it's obviously easier with a hobbled Mahomes going into no Mahomes. That's obviously going to give you an advantage. But with that being said, the first couple drives, I don't know if anyone was expecting some kind of miracle. We all talked about how it's going to be high scoring. If you look at the Kennel Quick Predict score predictions, it's all crazy high scoring. So the fact that, yes, the Chiefs with a bye week, 2 full weeks to prepare for this game, of course they have all kinds of awesome shit laid out in their offensive game plan, and they're able to drive down the field a couple times. Like, that is zero surprise to me. So especially in this game, Mahomes or not, we held the Kansas City Chiefs to 22 points. We didn't lose this game because of the defense. Should they have gotten the stop at the end? I know Chad Henne, 3rd and 14 with a chance to seal the game, and we let him run for 13 yards.
A lot of lack of discipline on that play specifically, and
everyone's
also
fired up and going aggressive.
Also the 4th down in general, the 4th and 1, and also my point in bringing up the defense wasn't to pin it on the defense. I said, and also just reiterated what Kevin Stefanski said, they win as a team, they lose as a team. So we criticized the offense, and then I wanted to shift gears to criticize the defense on what they could have done right. And some of the things that they could have done right were those big gashing plays early in the game. They did come out in the second half with a little bit more intensity, stop those plays from happening. Ultimately, we're able to really held Chad Henne. We had the interception of Chad Henne as well, that horrible pass down to the end zone. But yeah, it's a heartbreaker that we on the third. I don't even care about the 4th and 1, although that showed a lack of discipline. That it appeared to me that our players anticipated that they were just doing the hard count. Mm-hmm. It looked like about half of our players didn't move on that play.
Surprise, we're throwing it to Tyreek Hill.
It was an easy conversion to Tyreek Hill, their top target in almost every situation. Yep. Right, either that or Travis Kelce. So it was obvious, right? But it's the 3rd and 14 that hurts me the most is letting Chad Henne run open for the 13 yards, whatever, 13 inches, whatever it gets you to get you right there at the 4th and 1.
Put a spy on that, man.
I mean, it's not even. I wouldn't even say necessary to put a spy. Just have some discipline in knowing that. Just don't allow for that lane on 3rd and 14, and have somebody to at least keep charge of, whether it be the running back out of the backfield or a potential quarterback sneak like that, whatever it is.
Well, I got to say, in general, so I'll say this. Stefanski said today that it looks like the entire offense, the entire offensive and defensive, the entire coaching staff, his whole coaching staff is going to be coming back for next year. And of course, everyone's like, Joe Woods sucks. I get that. But I will say that situation is disappointing. And in our previous episode, I mapped out how I would defend the Kansas City Chiefs, and we didn't do any of that. I said I would have Denzel on Tyreek Hill every play with safety help over the top, double team Travis Kelce, go from there. And yet, early in this game and often throughout, you got Denzel Ward matched up against Pringle.
Yeah, Pringles.
I posted a thing on Twitter where it was a picture of Denzel Ward and a picture of a can of Pringles, and I was like, Joe Woods, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why? That shit just doesn't make any sense to me. One of the big plays Tyreek Hill had was against Kevin Johnson in the slot, and he just blew right back. No disrespect to Kevin Johnson. I mean, no one is going one-on-one with Tyreek Hill in the slot. It's just not happening. It doesn't make any sense to ever even put your defense in that position. So that kind of stuff was really disappointing to me. I mean, I expected us to play a lot of zone, but you have to play man sometimes. I said we needed to be physical with Tyreek Hill on the line, have Denzel Ward pushing him, running with him, safety help over the top. I don't think we did that once. And again, I'm not a defensive coordinator. Joe Woods is definitely way smarter than I am. Not trying to sit here like I'm a fan and I know best or nothing like that. But to me, that seems like a common sense approach. And, there was one play where we had Denzel Ward ISO'd up on Travis Kelce, which, I get it. Denzel Ward's probably our best pass defender, but ISOing him up on a 6'5", 260-pound target, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. So, you compound all of that along with what you said, where on that fourth down, for the 3rd and 14, we let him take that running lane, Chad Henne, and then on the 4th down, we're not prepared for the quick snap, and you let Tyreek Hill get it of all people, who Denzel Ward wasn't even lined up on him on that play. So, just those lapses really kill me. I'm hoping Joe Woods can learn from this. This is his first year as a defensive coordinator, and hopefully he can learn from those mistakes, and hopefully bringing more talent onto the defensive side of the football can help a lot as well. But overall, I was disappointed with all that stuff. But I will say again, we held the Chiefs to 22 points. We knew they were going to score a lot of points, so it's not like the Chiefs scored 50 points and Chad Henne came in and threw 3 touchdowns or anything like that. So defense deserves some credit for that. But overall, I think you made a good point too, where in the first half, our intensity wasn't there. It's like we were scared of the Chiefs' speed. Like every time we were going to tackle them, there was all this hesitancy. And they're able to get 3-4 more yards, just kind of like doing these little dances and shit like that. With a speedy team like the Chiefs, you just have to be physical. You got to bump them at the fucking line. You got to hit them.
They should have done what we did against the Steelers, where there was a certain level of intensity that the Steelers didn't bring to the game, and we did. And that's kind of the opposite that happened here. Is the Chiefs kind of met our level of intensity, and we drew back. Obviously, like I said, the second half defense, and then even some offensively, kind of turned it up a little bit, but eventually we know the results. So yeah, another thing I wanted to ask you specifically about Stefanski, but now it slipped my mind because I noticed you had the video of the guy ripping open the can of Bud Light. And
really quick, I wanted to shout him out. So we did a
shotgun video.
A shotgun video at halftime, which if you're watching the video, I'll play it now.
Let's go Browns!
Oh my God.
Sweet. And
only in video format.
Not going to worry about the podcast. So listeners, get on YouTube if you want. So this dude replied like immediately at Andrew Plummer 0 on Twitter with just the gnarliest shotgun I've ever seen. So again, video people, I'm going to play that for you now.
Let's go Browns!
Yeah, completely ridiculous, super awesome. The best part about this video was that he replied immediately with that. Like, he saw and immediately hit it.
Yeah.
For those who are watching, he literally rips this can open with his teeth, but like removes the entire top
of the beer can.
Like
can opener style with his mouth, and then chugs it. Screams "Go Browns!" It's pretty epic. Stevie, I remembered my question. We tend to defer when we win the coin toss. Another fan question I was seeing around, especially on 92.3 The Fans, Twitter land, Browns Twitter. Should we have deferred like we usually do? I know we do that often. I know most teams defer, and I know it makes sense, especially going into halftime. If you're down, gives you the opportunity to come out of the half swinging. If you're up, it takes away a possession. And keeps the momentum rolling your way with giving you the ball back after half. So, what are your thoughts? Should we have deferred just to play kind of devil's advocate on the idea that most teams defer. Normally, I would agree, but against a team like Kansas City Chiefs, kind of makes sense to get your offense started early, try to set the tone, because you are expecting to walk into a shootout against a team like that. Now, what are your thoughts?
95% of the time, I'm down to defer because that gives you a lot of advantages. If you're able to get the ball winding, with the second half winding down, you can get a score, get the ball after the second half. It really sets the tempo for your second half, which is extremely important. Now, that being said, if you believe in your opening game script, in your offense, and you're extremely confident that you're going to be able to come out on your opening drive and score a touchdown, then take the ball, set the tempo. I think that's a big part of it too. Is whoever gets whatever happens on that first drive, it does have a lot to do with setting the tempo of the game. I mean, we saw it last week firsthand with the Steelers snapping the ball over their head and it going to the end zone. That kind of set the pace for the whole game, where the Steelers were sloppy with the football, everything that comes along with that. And now what the Chiefs were able to do is they came out and marched right down the field, scored a touchdown. They're feeling great. And had Patrick Mahomes not gone out, I think that trend would have continued at a much higher rate. And then we get the ball back, we kind of flounder. So if we have a good opening game script, it can go both ways though. Say you get the ball, you're the Browns, you elect to receive, you come out, you march down the field, score a touchdown, or say you get the ball, you go 3 and out immediately.
Sure.
So it's going to set the tempo either way. Now, if you give the ball to the Chiefs, and imagine if you're able to get a big stop on that first drive, well, all of a sudden, immediately the game looks very different. So I don't know. It's kind of whatever. It's not something I'm going to like stress on. But
fair enough.
9 times out of 10, I'm deferring.
Okay. Well, that was pretty much that was all my inquiries, if you will. So I don't know. Do you want to anything else you want to add, or do you want to do final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to point out just some moral happy stuff. I mean, the Browns had a phenomenal season. We went 12-6, like I said, over the course of 18 games. We got to beat the Steelers 2 weeks in a row, beat them in the playoffs, and we got to play the defending Super Bowl champions in the playoffs. And what hurts the most was Patrick Mahomes going out and then us really having a chance.
Sure.
And what sucks is I really do believe had we stopped the Chiefs on that 4th down, think about it, Baker would have got the ball on like the 50. With no timeouts, but he would have got the ball on the 50 with 2 minutes to march down the field and score a touchdown. And I think it's that FOMO, it's that missed opportunity that hurts. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course, losing 35-17 would have hurt in a different type of way. Losing sucks, but just knowing that we had him on 3rd and 14, and when it was 3rd and 14, you're sitting there like, oh my God, we can get the ball back. Down by a touchdown, down by 5. Baker Mayfield, this could be it. And I'm already like sitting there imagining like, what are we gonna call the drive when he drives down and scores? Who's gonna do it? Like. So you're thinking about all that stuff, and then they convert this dumb 4th down, and it's really heartbreaking. But in general, I'm extremely proud of this team. We're going to be bringing back everybody on offense. We're going to retool the defense. I think that's going to be helpful. A lot of guys coming back from injury. We have a long offseason to talk about all this stuff. But overall, the Browns are in a really good place, and it feels like a revamped version of the 80s, where I think we're setting up for multiple years of good things. We have our head coach. We have our quarterback. We have a lot of guys on this team that truly believe, and I think it's going to be really good moving forward. So it stings, but I'm at peace with it, and I'm very happy about the Browns and very excited. Really, I can't wait for next year. I can't wait for next year. I think this offseason is going to be exciting too. Don't forget, we have 9 picks in the NFL draft, and the NFL draft's being hosted in Cleveland. I don't know what that's going to look like with the great COVIDian among us, but we'll see what happens. So it's going to be interesting. We're picking 26, latest we've ever picked ever. So that's kind of weird too. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm optimistic, extremely optimistic, and I'm just more than anything, I'm anxious because I want to get back into it. We have 8 months till the next football game, and we get to play the Chiefs next year in the regular season.
We do,
get some
and
revenge.
A few other really good teams. So
yeah, Packers.
But don't we play the Patriots too?
Yep.
Yeah, so lots of good beat teams. Yeah, I mean, my final thoughts are pretty much the same thing. I'm with you on all of it. I think I said it. Everything past the Steelers game to me was like a bonus. That was like the Super Bowl of this season to me. Of course, I wanted to get to the Super Bowl. Of course, I think this team was capable. And of course, that's the ultimate goal, right? But I'm okay with the season ending the way it was. It was heartbreaking, but nonetheless a positive season. Finally, it's there's always next year is real this time. You know, it has some value. There's some merit behind those words this time. We have our coach, we have our quarterback, we have a GM, and we have organizational function. Everything's consistent. They know what they're doing. They have a
great
plan.
jerseys.
They have a plan in mind, and we're back to the OG jerseys. So the Browns are back on the right path to success. And like you said, I think the goal here is to create something stable that will be good for a long time. And regarding, like you said, you know, facing better competition next year, that's what happens as you get better. Is the level of preparation, the level of effort, and the level of skill has to be doubled. Now teams aren't going to be facing you and thinking, oh, it's just the Browns anymore. That's not happening. So people aren't going to be taking you for granted. People aren't going to be assuming that facing the Browns is a win anymore. Not to say that was happening often, but come on, let's be honest. The Browns were kind of a joke for a long time. So I think this year changes the narrative on that for the city and for this team, and that's what I got to look forward to. I can't wait for a little bit of respect behind the Cleveland name, especially the Browns. And I'm happy that the best team in Cleveland also happens to be mostly everyone's favorite team for the first time in a long time. That's something that is usually never the case.
Well, I think we've earned that respect back. We're not a joke anymore.
No.
Like, at all. Even losing this game, I was reading all over Twitter, reading on the Reddit, watching the national media a bit today, listening to the radio. No one's sitting here like, dumbass Browns, they're such a joke.
Except for Steelers fans. But
like, well, yeah. They're idiots.
And they
I think
fuck their cousins.
Yeah, there's that. So I think we've done this season. What we've accomplished is we've got the monkey off our back. We've ended a lot of annoying streaks. We took out Big Brother. We went to the playoffs, won a playoff game, got all of that done. Out of the way, and now a full off season in Kevin Stefanski's offense. In Kevin Stefanski's press conference today, he said that he talked to Baker, and Baker said he's really excited to not have to learn a new offense.
So it'll be great. It'll be great to
This is the first time in 4 years Baker doesn't have to learn a new offense, because he had to learn a new one coming into the he went from one offense in college to learning a new one his rookie year to learning a new one halfway through that year to learning a new one his second year, his third year, like, it is madness. So I think we did all this without an off season, without training camp, without preseason games, all virtual meetings, limited on practice throughout the season, and we were able to get to this point. So I think with a full off season, with Kevin Stefanski and this coaching staff and Baker Mayfield and tons of players returning on offense, I think all of that is going to be huge and help set us up for a foundation to really kick some ass next year, especially offensively. And we bring Nick Chubb back, Kareem Hunt back, the whole offensive line, Baker Mayfield. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. This season was phenomenal. I can't wait to do our 2020 season breakdown recap episode. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, it's going to be great. You want to do quick predicts?
Let's do it, man.
All right, let's go.
Quick predicts.
Kennel Quick Predicts. Hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts. Make sure you use hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts. We got a lot of participants, so we're just going to read through it real fast. Twitter participants, we had AshWall55 at SCHWall55, Dan Berger, _land1, our buddy Mikey at Mikey Shreds, KCK. We have my dude Rick who participated, jumped on Twitter. So we got some homies on there jumping up and participating. Shout out to Rick. Then we got YouTube participants. We got Brian, you know, Brian is Brian Evan Sick. Evan Shit,
whoa.
No, Evan Schick, I was going to say, which is wrong. It's Evan Sick. We've been here before, Brian, I got you. And then we got Jackie Mau.
That's right.
Yeah, Jackie Mau. She's back. Huge comeback. Francisco, one of our new and favorite commentary guys on YouTube, and our buddy Parker, also participating on YouTube.
Nice. So 2 of our real life friends made it here. Mikey Shreds and Parker, and then your guy Rick, my buddy who Rick, I don't know, but that's great. So
he's a great guy. So
thanks, friends.
Thank you, friends.
Supporting the show.
So we'll start it off with the most important one. Myles Garrett sacks. You went with 2. I went with 1. We're looking at an actual stat line of 1.
Everyone else said 1.5 or more, so no one gets any points but you. Congratulations.
I am the winner. I get the points.
Going into turnovers for Kansas City, I was hopeful there'd be 100 of them, but there was indeed only 1. It was Chad Henne throwing a interception to Kevin Joseph in the end zone. You said 1, I said 1, so we both get points for that.
Carl
and
Joseph.
Everyone else was, what'd I say?
Kevin.
Shit.
That's okay.
Sorry, Carl. Rick from Walking Dead. You know that meme? Carl! Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, participants, everyone was a little higher on that except for Dan Berger and Francisco. Both went with 1, so you guys get points. Congratulations.
And then, we get points because you said 1 and I said 1.
That's right, baby.
So
Getting
points,
the points
for the 4 of us. And next, quick predict, we got Hunt rushing yards, combined rushing yards for Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Obviously, we all expected a huge rushing game. You were kind of on the lower end. You were pretty much the lowest one.
I did predict the lowest amount of yards.
At 125. I went with 169. Everybody else went with even way higher than that, but unfortunately, we were all off by quite a bit. Their actual combined rushing was 101.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a lot more rushing in this game, but
Hindsight,
it is what it is.
You know, the hindsight thing, like you were saying. So
it is what
no
it
points
is.
for anyone there. Sad, but nonetheless, we move on.
Oh, this next one hurts.
Also hurts. Baker Mayfield touchdowns. You went with 5. I went with 3. Neither of us even close. You guys, everybody pretty much expected him to throw 2 or more.
Everyone said 2 or 3. Every single person.
Yeah. So unfortunately. He only
had 1.
He only threw the 1 and then the pick, so that's no points for anyone there. And then final score is obvious. I'm not even going to go over our prediction scores. The point is we all picked the Browns to win
in a high-scoring game.
And I know now that I must sacrifice myself moving forward and never go against my thoughts. I should have known to pick the Browns to lose like I did the Steelers in the wild card, because that bit of inconsistency. We did everything else the same. We watched the game in the same place. The same people showed up. We sat in the same seats. We ordered the same food. I mean, I wore the same clothes. I'm not joking here. The only difference is this time I wasn't late by 5 minutes. I showed up on time, and I had a trophy from our friendly. We play a poker tournament.
You had to bring up the poker night.
I'm just saying.
I'm surprised you didn't bring it.
I should have. I thought about bringing it.
Next episode.
So we got a trophy for a poker tournament. We play with our friends, and the winner gets to take the trophy home. So I brought the trophy with me, kind of like it was I was on tour with the Stanley Cup, essentially. So that's really the only difference. And I predicted the Browns to win. So that's the difference between the 2 playoff weekends. And I truly believe that's what did it. I should have said Browns lose against the Chiefs, and I think we'd be having a different conversation. It's the butterfly effect. It comes down to me. I'll take all the blame. You won't hear from me for the rest of your lives. This is it. I'm retiring.
All right, good. I've had enough of you. Everyone predicted very high-scoring games. I will give a...
Well, it makes sense.
I won't give any points, but I'll give a little shout-out to Jackie Meow Meow because she predicted 24 points for the Chiefs. She thought 31 Browns, 24 Chiefs. She predicted the lowest score of anyone. Everyone else had both teams going over 30 and a couple of them upwards of 40. So we don't get any points, just an honorary shout out to Jackie Meow Meow, but nobody gets any points.
You know, I'm gonna use my presidential powers here and say points for everybody for participating on hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts this week. It's been a fantastic season. It's been a fun Kennel Quick Predicts season of 2020 following the Cleveland Browns. A lot of you guys participated along the way. Some of you dropped off, then came back on. Some of you just joined and did it for the first time this year. So big shout out to everybody that participated, and points to everyone that followed along through our breakdowns of the 2020 season. So points for everyone.
I think that was a very generous thing for you to do. Gian for president of America.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Well, I'm going to run specifically on that point. Free points for everybody.
That's right.
Points that don't matter.
That's even better than stimulus checks and
I'll
free
just say
college.
follow the kennel at Football Kennel on Twitter.
Gian, will you be relieving student loan debt?
No, but I'll give you free points at the Kennel.
That's
Kennel.
right.
Hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts.
Gian 2024 or whatever.
Whatever year is I'm
next.
Available to run.
Excellent.
I have to be somewhat older because right now I'm too young.
No
one will take me seriously. But eventually, I will.
Well, you also have to be born in America.
Ugh, damn it.
Son of a bitch.
I didn't know that was a rule.
I'll run for president first, then I'll make an executive order.
Can I be a vice president and not be in the...
No, I don't know if you can. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Okay,
I'll appoint you to like a really high important position.
What if you become president?
I'll become emperor.
I become, whatever the lowest tier in command I can be, and where I don't have to be born here to hold that political
highest
power.
tier?
Huh?
The highest tier you can get into?
Yeah. Without having that requirement of being born
you
here.
You could be a governor.
But I'm still but I still have to be in the presidential line. So then basically you die.
And you kill everyone off and you assume the presidency.
Yep.
There's probably some rules against that. We'll look into it.
I hope no one's listening that could potentially take this the wrong way.
Don't worry, we have no power or plans to seize any.
Or storm the Capitol or anything at all.
Nothing weird.
Please don't call the FBI.
Unless Kevin Stefanski asked me to, I would do whatever I had to do.
Really the only
whatever
exception.
Kevin Stefanski needs.
This is what happens every end of the episode. We start getting a little ridiculous.
Yep, it's happening.
Everyone knows
now.
by now. So, anyways, we're gonna.
It's not my fault.
We're gonna call.
It's not my fault.
This is just water. We're gonna call it.
You're on your own, guy.
I am just weird. We're gonna call it an episode. We'll follow up with some. Like you said, we'll break down the 2020 season. We'll probably go over what the Browns need to do with our upcoming free agents, what the Browns should do in free agency period, what they should do in the draft. Eventually, we'll get there. We'll get to some draft talk. So it's going to be a fun off season for once. Not wondering who our coach will be and what this organization is going to do. We all know what's next. Super Bowl, Super Browns.
Yeah, and we don't have to spend a whole offense defending Baker Mayfield or anything.
Yeah, it's over. Like
we did it.
There's some confidence behind this team. So
sorry, I cut off your Go Browns.
That's
so
okay.
sorry. I just wanted to mention it too.
It's
you
okay.
did good. I ruined your.
No.
Sorry.
I get it.
I'm sorry.
It's an important point. Go Browns.
Go Browns. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to burn witness.
I've been a million miles just like this. So let's get down.
Let's get down to business.
All right.